The crystal chandelier above the marble lobby cast bright white light across the polished floors as Simone Sterling watched her husband walk through the revolving doors with another woman's hand tucked into his arm. Her chest felt hollow. Her fingers gripped the edge of the mahogany reception desk until her knuckles went pale, but her face remained perfectly composed. Professional. Welcoming. The smile she'd practiced in the mirror that morning stayed fixed on her lips even as her world shattered into pieces sharp enough to draw blood. Gregory hadn't seen her yet. He was too busy laughing at something the woman beside him said, his head thrown back in that carefree way Simone hadn't witnessed in months. The woman was petite and blonde, wearing a dress too tight for a hotel check-in. She clung to Gregory's arm like a prize she'd won. Simone's phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from her assistant manager, "You don't have to do this. Let me handle check-in." But Simone needed to do this. She needed to look her husband in the eyes as he checked into the honeymoon suite. The suite she had designed herself when she opened this hotel 3 years ago. The suite with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, the marble bathroom with the rainfall shower, the king bed with Egyptian cotton sheets she'd personally selected. She typed back, "I'm fine. Stay in the office." Gregory finally noticed her and his footsteps faltered. For a split second, panic flashed across his face. Then confusion. His eyes darted from Simone to the elegant hotel lobby around them, trying to piece together why his wife stood behind the reception desk of the luxury hotel where he planned to spend a romantic weekend with his mistress. "Simone." His voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" The blonde woman looked between them, her perfectly shaped eyebrows drawing together. "You know her?" Simone let her smile widen, channeling every acting class she'd taken in college, every business presentation where she'd hidden nervousness behind confidence. "Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the Sterling Grand Hotel. Do you have a reservation?" She watched recognition dawn on his face. The Sterling Grand. Her hotel. Her name on the building. Her business that she'd built from the ground up while he focused on his dental practice. The hotel empire he barely asked about because he was too busy with his own career to care about hers. We. Gregory stammered. "We have a reservation under Bennett," the blonde woman said, her tone sharp with suspicion. Gregory Bennett. Honeymoon suite. Simone's fingers flew across the keyboard. She pulled up the reservation, noting every detail. 2 nights. King bed. Champagne package. Couples massage. All charged to the credit card connected to her and Gregory's joint bank account. Of course Ms. Bethany. Bethany Foster. Miss Foster. I see your reservation right here. Simone printed out 2 key cards, her hand steady despite the storm raging inside her chest. "The honeymoon suite is our finest accommodation. You'll love the view." Gregory's face had gone pale. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Simone, I can explain?" "Sir, there's nothing to explain. You're our guest." She slid the key cards across the desk along with a folder containing information about the hotel's amenities. "Checkout is at 11 a.m. on Sunday. We have a world-class spa on the 3rd floor, and our rooftop restaurant is open until midnight. Will you need help with your luggage?" Bethany grabbed the key cards, her eyes narrowing. "No, we're fine." "Wonderful. The elevators are to your right. Your suite is on the 10th floor, room 1047. Simone's smile never wavered. "I hope you enjoy your stay, sir." The way she said "sir" made Gregory flinch. He knew her well enough to hear the ice beneath the professional courtesy. But he didn't know her well enough anymore to understand the full extent of what was happening. "Simone," he tried again. "Is there anything else I can help you with?" She tilted her head, her dark curls cascading over her shoulder. She dressed carefully that morning in a burgundy dress that hugged her curves, wanting to look her absolute best when this moment arrived. Bethany tugged on Gregory's arm. "Come on. Let's go to the room." Simone watched them walk toward the elevators, Bethany's heels clicking against the marble, Gregory's shoulders tense with confusion and guilt. The elevator doors closed, taking them up to the suite she designed with Gregory in mind all those years ago, back when she thought their marriage meant something. Her assistant manager appeared beside her. "Are you okay?" "Not even close." Simone's smile finally cracked. "But I will be." She pulled out her phone and sent a text to her lawyer. "They're here. Everything is in motion." Then she sent another text to her private investigator. "Cameras are active. Start documentation." The reply came back immediately. "Already on it. You've got this." Simone looked up at the chandelier, blinking back tears that threatened to ruin her makeup. She'd spent 7 years building a life with Gregory. 7 years believing they were partners. 7 years while he apparently spent the last 8 months building a different life with someone else. But she'd spent 3 years building this hotel empire. She had 2 properties now with plans for a third. She had staff who respected her, guests who returned because of her attention to detail, and a business that thrived because she poured her heart into it. Gregory thought he was having a secret romantic weekend. He had no idea that every moment would be documented. Every dinner charged to the card she monitored. Every sweet word spoken in the hotel bar where her staff would overhear. Every kiss in the lobby captured by security cameras. He had no idea that while he was upstairs with Bethany, Simone would be downstairs preparing to dismantle the life he thought he could maintain while betraying her. Her phone buzzed. A photo from hotel security showed Gregory and Bethany entering the honeymoon suite, his arm around her waist. Simone saved the image to the growing folder of evidence. "Hope you enjoy your stay, sir," she whispered to the empty lobby. "Because by Sunday you'll have nothing left to enjoy." 7 days earlier, Simone had been happy. Or at least she thought she'd been happy. She sat at the kitchen island of their home, reviewing contracts for the new hotel property, when Gregory's tablet chimed with a message. He'd left it on the counter before heading upstairs for a shower. She normally wouldn't have looked, but the message preview made her pause. "Can't wait for our weekend getaway. I've been counting the days." The message was from someone labeled B with a heart emoji. Simone's stomach dropped. She picked up the tablet, her fingers trembling slightly. The screen unlocked easily because they'd always shared their passwords, trusted each other completely. She opened the messages. The first thing she saw was a photo. Bethany, the blonde dental assistant from Gregory's practice, wearing lingerie that left nothing to the imagination. Simone's breath caught in her throat. She scrolled up, reading months of messages. 8 months of "I love you," and "can't wait to see you," and explicit photos she couldn't unsee. 8 months of Gregory telling another woman the same sweet things he used to tell Simone before their conversations became nothing but logistics and schedules. The bathroom door opened upstairs. Gregory was finished with his shower. Simone's mind raced. She could confront him right now. Scream. Throw his tablet at the wall. Demand answers. But years of running her own business had taught her that emotional reactions led to poor outcomes. Strategy won battles. Evidence won wars. She grabbed her phone and started taking screenshots. Every message. Every photo. Every promise he made to Bethany about leaving his wife once the time was right. She created a hidden folder on her cloud storage and uploaded everything. "Hey babe, have you seen my tablet?" Gregory called from upstairs. "Kitchen counter," she called back, her voice surprisingly steady. She placed the tablet exactly where he'd left it and returned to her contracts, even though the words blurred on the page. Gregory came downstairs wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt, his hair still damp. He kissed the top of her head like he always did, like he was a faithful husband coming home to his loving wife. The casualness of his betrayal made Simone's blood run cold. "How was your day?" he asked, grabbing a beer from the fridge. "Productive. I'm looking at a property downtown for the third hotel." She kept her eyes on her papers, afraid he'd see the truth written across her face. "That's great." His tone was distracted. He was already looking at his tablet, probably reading Bethany's message. "How was work?" Simone asked. "Busy. You know how it is." He typed something on his tablet, smiling at whatever response he got. Simone watched him from the corner of her eye. This man she'd married at 23. This man she'd supported through dental school. This man who'd promised to build a life with her. "I'm going to bed early," she said. "Big day tomorrow." "Okay. I'll be up in a bit." She went upstairs and locked herself in the guest bathroom. Only then did she let the tears fall, silent and hot against her cheeks. She pressed a towel to her mouth to muffle the sounds of her breaking heart. 20 minutes later, she washed her face, applied eye cream to reduce the swelling, and went to bed. Gregory joined her an hour later, sliding under the covers like everything was normal. The next morning, Simone called her lawyer from her office at the hotel. Patricia Chin had handled the legal work for both of Simone's properties and was known for being ruthless in divorce cases. "I need to talk to you about something personal," Simone said. 2 hours later, she sat in Patricia's office, watching the lawyer review the screenshots on her tablet. "This is solid evidence of infidelity," Patricia said. "But we need more. Financial records showing he used marital assets for the affair will strengthen your case considerably." Simone pulled out a folder. "I went through our bank statements this morning. He's been using our joint account." She pointed to highlighted transactions. "Jewelry from Tiffany's. I never received any jewelry. Dinners at restaurants we've never been to together. A weekend trip to Napa Valley when he told me he was at a dental conference. Patricia nodded, making notes. How do you want to proceed? I want everything documented. I want him to face consequences. And I don't want to warn him that I know. Simone's voice was calm, but her hands shook slightly as she gripped her coffee cup. He has a reservation at the Sterling Grand next weekend with her. He doesn't know I own it. He thinks it's just some luxury hotel. You want to confront him there? I want to be there when he checks in. I want to serve him divorce papers during his romantic weekend. I want him to understand that his actions have destroyed everything. Patricia studied her for a long moment. I can have papers ready by Friday. But Simone, are you sure about this approach? It's going to be painful for you too. I've already felt the pain, Simone said. Now I need to feel the power. She hired a private investigator that afternoon. His name was Robert, and he specialized in infidelity cases. He set up surveillance on Gregory's dental practice and confirmed that Bethany worked there as his assistant. The close proximity made the affair easy to maintain. They usually leave together on Wednesdays, Robert reported. They go to her apartment in Riverside. He tells you he's working late? He tells me he has evening patients. He doesn't. The practice closes at 6 on Wednesdays. Every new piece of information felt like another wound, but Simone documented everything. She pulled financial records showing Gregory had been withdrawing cash regularly for months. She found credit card statements for a card she didn't know existed, showing purchases of flowers, hotel rooms, and expensive dinners. The man she married had been living a double life while she worked 14-hour days building her business. On Thursday night, Gregory came home late again. Sorry, babe. Emergency root canal ran long. Simone looked up from her laptop. No problem. I ordered Thai food. Your plate is in the microwave. You're the best. He kissed her forehead. She watched him heat up his dinner, watched him settle on the couch with his tablet, watched him smile at messages from the woman he was betraying her with. What are you working on? He asked. Just some hotel stuff. Nothing interesting. You work too hard. The irony of hearing that from him, when he was working so hard at destroying their marriage, almost made her laugh. Friday morning, she met with Patricia to review the divorce papers. Everything was ready. The settlement demanded 55% of their shared assets, the house and spousal support based on his fraud with marital funds. This is going to destroy him financially, Patricia warned. Good, Simone said. He destroyed me in every other way. That evening, Gregory packed a small suitcase. I have that dental conference this weekend, remember? Simone nodded, keeping her face neutral. Right. In the city? Yeah. Probably won't be home until Sunday night. She watched him load his car, watched him drive away toward his weekend with Bethany. Then she got in her own car and headed to her hotel, where she would spend the weekend making sure Gregory Bennett finally faced the consequences of his choices. Saturday morning, Simone arrived at the Sterling Grand at 6 a.m. The hotel was her sanctuary, the place where she'd proven her worth as a businesswoman. Now it would become the stage for exposing the truth. Her assistant manager, Jerome, met her in the lobby with coffee and concern written across his face. Are you absolutely sure about this? Completely sure. Simone took the coffee and headed toward her office. I need you to make sure the honeymoon suite is perfect. Fresh flowers, champagne, the works. I want them to have the best possible experience before reality crashes down. Jerome followed her into the office. You're serving him divorce papers in the hotel? Not exactly. Simone pulled up the security camera feeds on her computer. I'm letting him enjoy his weekend first. I'm going to watch them play house in the suite I designed. I'm going to document every moment of their affair happening under my roof. And on Sunday morning, before checkout, I'm going to invite them to a private meeting where my lawyer will be waiting. That's cold. He deserves cold. Simone clicked through camera angles, making sure everything was positioned correctly. The lobby, the elevators, the hallway outside the honeymoon suite, the restaurant, the bar. She couldn't film inside the suite itself, but every public moment would be captured. Patricia arrived at 7 with a thick folder of documents. I brought everything. Divorce petition, restraining order, financial injunction freezing the joint accounts. Restraining order? Simone looked up. Given the level of deception, I think we should be prepared for any reaction. The restraining order prevents him from coming within 500 feet of you, the hotel, or your home until the court hearing. Simone nodded slowly. You think he'll be angry? I think a man who's been lying for 8 months and gets caught in spectacular fashion might be unpredictable. Better safe than sorry. Robert, the private investigator, arrived next. He set up additional recording equipment in the conference room where the confrontation would happen. Audio and video. Everything legal and admissible in court. He's going to hate me, Simone said quietly. Patricia touched her arm. He already betrayed you. His feelings about how you respond don't matter anymore. At 9 a.m., Simone gathered her key staff in the conference room. She needed people she trusted manning every position during Gregory's stay. I'm going to be honest with you, she told the assembled group of desk clerks, concierges, restaurant staff, and housekeeping managers. My husband is checking in today with his mistress. He doesn't know I own this hotel. I need everyone to treat him like any other guest. Professional, courteous, perfect service. But I also need you to document anything unusual. Any conversations you overhear. Any requests they make. Everything. Her head chef, Carlos, frowned. You want us to spy on your husband? I want you to do your jobs while my investigator does his. I'm not asking you to hide cameras in rooms or listen through walls. Just normal awareness of what's happening in your work areas. The concierge, Rachel, raised her hand. What happens when he recognizes you? He already did. I checked him in last night. Simone pulled up the security footage showing Gregory's shocked face. He's confused, but Bethany doesn't know who I am yet. As far as she knows, I'm just a friendly hotel manager. This is insane, muttered one of the housekeepers. This is necessary, Simone corrected. I built this business while he built a lie. Now I'm going to use my business to reveal the truth. She spent the rest of the morning in her office watching the camera feeds. Gregory and Bethany came down for breakfast at 10. They sat in the corner booth of the hotel restaurant, holding hands across the table. Simone watched Bethany lean in close, watched Gregory kiss her knuckles, watched them act like lovers without a care in the world. Carlos called from the restaurant. They ordered the couple's breakfast. Champagne and strawberries. He's using the joint credit card. Document it. At noon they went to the spa. The spa manager called to report they'd booked the couple's massage package. Should I refuse service? Absolutely not. Give them the best massage of their lives. And note that he's paying with marital funds. Every hour brought new evidence. Gregory bought Bethany an expensive necklace from the hotel's jewelry boutique. They had lunch by the pool, where other guests overheard Bethany talking about how Gregory was finally leaving his wife. They spent the afternoon in their suite, emerging at 6 for dinner in the rooftop restaurant. Simone watched it all from her office, her heart turning to ice with each passing hour. She remembered their own honeymoon, a modest trip to the Bahamas because they were broke newlyweds. She remembered him promising to love her forever. Forever had lasted 7 years before someone younger and more exciting caught his attention. Jerome knocked on her door at 8 p.m. You need to go home. Get some sleep. I can't sleep. Then go home and pretend to sleep. You look exhausted and tomorrow needs you sharp. He was right. Simone gathered her things and drove home to the empty house. Gregory's clothes were still in the closet. His toothbrush was still by the sink. Evidence of the life they'd shared scattered throughout every room. She poured herself a glass of wine and sat on the back patio, staring at the pool they'd installed last summer. Gregory had insisted they needed it for entertaining. Now she wondered if he just wanted it to impress Bethany. Her phone buzzed with photos from Robert. Gregory and Bethany kissing in the hotel bar. Gregory's hand on Bethany's thigh during dinner. Bethany's head on Gregory's shoulder as they walked through the lobby. Simone saved each image to her evidence folder. By the time she went to bed, that folder contained hundreds of files proving her husband's betrayal in excruciating detail. Sunday morning she woke at 5 and couldn't fall back asleep. She showered, dressed in her sharpest black suit, and arrived at the hotel by 6:30. Patricia was already there, sitting in the conference room with paperwork spread across the table. Ready for this? I've been ready since the moment I saw his messages. Robert had set up his equipment, testing the cameras and microphones. Everything's recording. When they sit down I'll have multiple angles. At 10 a.m. Jerome called Gregory's room. Mr. Bennett, this is the front desk. There's been an issue with your credit card payment. Could you and Miss Foster please come to the executive conference room on the second floor? It will just take a moment to sort out. Simone listened to Gregory's sleepy voice agree to come down in 15 minutes. She positioned herself at the head of the conference table, Patricia on her right, Robert on her left. The divorce papers sat in a folder directly in front of her. Last chance to back out, Patricia said. I'm not backing out. At 10:20 there was a knock on the door. Jerome opened it to reveal Gregory and Bethany, both looking confused and slightly annoyed at having their romantic morning interrupted. Then Gregory saw Simone sitting at the table in her business suit, flanked by a lawyer and an investigator, and the color drained from his face. "Have a seat," Simone said. "We need to talk about your stay." The moment stretched between them like a wire pulled tight, ready to snap. Gregory stood frozen in the doorway, his hands still on Bethany's back, his face shifting through expressions faster than Simone could catalog them. Fear, confusion, guilt. Bethany looked between them, her perfectly shaped eyebrows drawing together. "What's going on? Who are you people?" "Please sit down," Patricia said, gesturing to the chairs across from them. Gregory's mouth opened and closed. "Simone, what is this?" "This is a business meeting about your weekend stay at my hotel." Simone kept her voice level, professional. "Please sit." "Your hotel?" Bethany's voice rose. "Gregory, what is she talking about?" He still hadn't moved, still hadn't sat down. His eyes were locked on Simone, searching her face for something. Mercy, maybe. A sign that this was all a misunderstanding. "The Sterling Grand," Simone said. "My hotel. The one I've been building for 3 years while you were busy with evening patients who don't exist." Bethany's face went pale. "Gregory?" "Miss Foster, I'm Patricia Chen, Mrs. Bennett's attorney." Patricia slid a business card across the table. "And this is Robert Harris, private investigator. Please sit down. This will be easier if you're sitting." Bethany stumbled into a chair like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. Gregory followed slowly, each movement stiff and mechanical. Simone opened the folder in front of her. Inside were printed screenshots of text messages, bank statements highlighted in yellow, surveillance photos from the past 24 hours. She slid the stack across the table. "I discovered your affair 8 days ago," she said. "Since then I've documented everything. The messages on your tablet. The financial fraud. The lies about dental conferences and evening patients. This weekend at my hotel was just the final piece of evidence." Gregory's hands shook as he picked up the first photo. It showed him and Bethany kissing in the hotel bar last night. "You've been spying on us?" "I've been collecting evidence of infidelity and financial fraud." Patricia's voice was sharp. "There's a difference." Bethany flipped through the papers, her face getting paler with each page. "You screenshotted our private messages?" "I screenshotted messages sent on a tablet purchased with marital funds, about an affair conducted using marital funds, by a man who was lying to his wife." Simone leaned forward. "Nothing about your relationship with my husband was private when he was stealing from me to finance it. I didn't know he was married." Bethany's voice was barely a whisper. "You work at his dental practice. You've seen his wedding ring. You've heard him talk about his wife." Simone pulled out another photo, this one showing Gregory's left hand clearly displaying his gold wedding band. "Don't insult my intelligence by claiming ignorance." Bethany looked at Gregory, betrayal written across her face. "You said you were separated. You said the divorce was almost final." "Another lie," Simone said. "We were never separated. No divorce was in progress until right now." Patricia slid a thick document across the table. "Petition for dissolution of marriage, filed this morning. You'll be served officially on Monday, Mr. Bennett, but I thought you might appreciate a preview." Gregory finally found his voice. "Simone, please. Can we talk about this privately?" "No. I can explain." "I don't want your explanations. I want you to read the settlement terms." His hands trembled as he picked up the divorce papers. Simone watched him scan the pages, watched the reality of his situation sink in. "You're asking for 55% of our assets?" His voice cracked. "I'm taking 55% because you committed financial fraud. The rest of the terms are detailed in the document. The house is mine. The car is mine. You'll pay spousal support based on the amount you stole from our joint account to fund your affair." "Stole? It was our money." "That you spent on another woman without my knowledge or consent." Patricia tapped the highlighted bank statements. "That's fraud, Mr. Bennett. You're lucky we're pursuing civil remedies instead of criminal charges." Bethany stood up suddenly, her chair scraping against the floor. "I can't be part of this. This is crazy." "Gregory, you said." "Sit down, Miss Foster." Robert's voice was quiet but firm. "We're not finished. You can't keep me here." "You're right, we can't. But you should know that your employer received a detailed report this morning about your relationship with a married colleague. I believe Dr. Thompson has strict policies about professional conduct." Bethany's face went white. "You sent evidence to my boss?" I sent facts to the owner of a business where an employee was engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a married co-worker. Simone stood up, walking around the table to face them directly. What happens next is between you and Dr. Thompson. You can't do this. Bethany's voice shook. I already did. Gregory finally seemed to wake up from his shock. He stood, his chair falling backward. Simone, this is insane. You can't just destroy our lives because you're hurt. I'm not destroying anything, Gregory. You did that when you started sleeping with your dental assistant 8 months ago. Simone's voice stayed calm, but steel ran through every word. I'm just making sure there are consequences for your choices. We can work this out. Marriage counseling. I'll end things with Bethany. We can fix this. No. Simone, please. I love you. I made a mistake. You made hundreds of mistakes over 8 months. You planned this weekend getaway. You used our money to buy her jewelry. You lied to my face every single day. Simone picked up her purse. The only mistake was mine, believing you were someone worth trusting. Patricia handed Gregory another document. This is a temporary restraining order, effective immediately. You cannot contact Mrs. Bennett except through legal counsel. You cannot come within 500 feet of her, this hotel, or the marital home. Violation will result in arrest. You're kicking me out of my own house? It stopped being your house when you turned our marriage into a lie. Simone walked toward the door. You have until 6 p.m. today to collect your personal belongings. Jerome will supervise to ensure you only take what belongs to you. After that, the locks will be changed. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore. Simone turned to Bethany. I assume you have room for him, since you wanted him so badly. Bethany's eyes widened. No. No way. I'm not taking him in. This is insane. Simone almost smiled. Trouble in paradise already? You're enjoying this, Gregory said. You're actually enjoying ruining my life. I'm not enjoying anything, Gregory. I'm surviving what you did to me. Simone opened the conference room door. The divorce will proceed whether you sign the papers or not. Fight it if you want, but Patricia assures me the evidence makes this an open and shut case. You'll lose, and it will cost you even more in legal fees. I need time to think. You had 8 months to think. Time's up. Simone looked at Jerome. Please escort Mr. Bennett and Miss Foster out of the building. Their checkout has been processed. Make sure they don't return to the room. Yes, ma'am. As Jerome moved toward them, Gregory made one last attempt. Simone, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, can we just talk? No. The word was final. Absolute. Goodbye, Gregory. She walked out of the conference room, her heels clicking against the marble floor, her spine straight despite the weight pressing down on her chest. She made it to her office before her knees buckled. She made it to her chair before the tears came. Patricia appeared in the doorway minutes later. That was brutal. It needed to be. Simone wiped her eyes, careful not to smudge her makeup. Is he gone? Jerome is making sure of it. Robert got everything on camera. It's all documented. Good. Are you okay? Simone looked out the window at the city spreading below her hotel. Her hotel. Her business. Her success. I will be. The following week passed in a blur of legal proceedings and emotional wreckage. Simone threw herself into work, arriving at the hotel before dawn and staying long after the last guest checked in. If she kept moving, kept working, she didn't have to feel the emptiness of her home or the weight of her failed marriage. Patricia called daily with updates. Gregory had hired a lawyer, someone from a mid-tier firm who specialized in reasonable settlements. His strategy was apparently to paint Simone as vengeful and unreasonable, to argue that her emotional response to his affair was clouding her judgment. He's arguing you're being vindictive, Patricia said on Wednesday afternoon. I'm being thorough. Simone reviewed financial statements from the last 2 years, highlighting every suspicious charge. Did he sign the papers? Not yet. He's asking for mediation. No. Simone, think about this. Mediation could resolve things faster. No mediation. No negotiation. He stole from me and lied to me for 8 months. I'm not sitting in a room with him pretending we can find middle ground. Patricia was quiet for a moment. Okay. I'll tell his lawyer we're proceeding with litigation. Friday morning, Simone received an email from Dr. Thompson, the owner of Gregory's dental practice. She'd worked with him years ago on a charity event, back when she still attended Gregory's work functions. Mrs. Bennett, I want you to know that after reviewing the evidence you provided, I've terminated Miss Foster's employment. Additionally, I've discussed the situation with Dr. Bennett. While I cannot terminate a partner in the practice, I have made it clear that his behavior was unacceptable and has damaged the reputation of our business. I'm deeply sorry for any role our practice played in facilitating this situation. Simone read the email twice, feeling a grim satisfaction. Bethany had lost her job. Gregory was facing professional consequences. The truth was coming out. Her phone rang. Jerome's name flashed on the screen. "What's wrong?" she asked, because calls from the hotel at 7 a.m. meant problems. "Gregory is in the lobby." Simone's stomach dropped. "What?" "He showed up 10 minutes ago demanding to see you. I reminded him about the restraining order, but he says he just wants to talk. He's sitting in the lobby refusing to leave. Call the police." "Are you sure? It'll be public messy?" "He's violating a court order. Call the police." Simone grabbed her keys and headed for the door. "I'm coming in." She arrived at the hotel 20 minutes later to find 2 police officers talking to Gregory in the lobby. Guests stood at a distance, watching the scene unfold. Gregory's face was red, his voice raised. "She's my wife. I have a right to talk to her." "Sir, you have a restraining order," one officer said. "You need to leave the premises immediately." "I just want 5 minutes." 5 minutes to explain." Simone walked into the lobby and Gregory's eyes locked on her. "Simone, please just listen." "Officers, thank you for coming." She kept her distance, staying well beyond the 500-foot boundary specified in the restraining order. "I want to press charges for violation of the protective order." Gregory's face crumpled. "You'd have me arrested?" "You were arrested the moment you walked into my hotel knowing you weren't allowed to be here." The officers moved toward Gregory and he backed away. "This is insane. I'm your husband. You're my ex-husband. And you're trespassing." Simone nodded to the officers. "Please remove him." They guided Gregory toward the door, his voice rising in desperation. "I lost everything because of you. My job, my home, my life. You destroyed everything." "You destroyed everything," Simone called after him. "I just made sure there were consequences." She watched the police car pull away, Gregory in the back seat, still yelling things she couldn't hear through the glass. Guests whispered around her, phones out recording the scene. Jerome appeared at her side. "That's going to be all over social media." "I know." Simone turned toward her office. "Make sure we issue a statement. Something about prioritizing guest safety and enforcing legal protections." "Already drafted it." By lunchtime, the video of Gregory being escorted out of the Sterling Grand by police had been viewed 50,000 times on various platforms. The comments ranged from supportive to curious to cruel, but Simone refused to read them. She had Patricia's team monitoring everything, documenting anything that might be useful in court. Patricia called it too. "The restraining order violation helps our case significantly." His lawyer is backpedaling hard, saying Gregory was emotionally distraught and not thinking clearly. Is that supposed to be an excuse? They're trying to paint him as the victim. Heartbroken husband making poor choices. "He made poor choices for 8 months before I caught him." "I know. And the judge will know too once we present all the evidence." That evening, Simone sat in her empty house with a glass of wine, scrolling through the paperwork that had become her life. Bank statements, phone records, screenshots, a marriage reduced to evidence exhibits. Her best friend Rhonda called, her voice sharp with concern. "I saw the video. Are you okay?" "I'm fine." "You had your husband arrested." "I had a man who violated a restraining order arrested." "There's a difference." Simone took a sip of wine. "He knew he couldn't come to the hotel. He chose to anyway." "He's falling apart, Simone. Everyone's talking about it." "His partners forced him to take a leave of absence." "Bethany left town entirely." "Good. Good." "Simone, you used to love him." "I used to love who I thought he was. Turns out that person never existed." Simone set down her wine glass. "He cheated on me for 8 months, Rhonda. He stole our money to buy jewelry and trips for another woman. He lied to my face every single day. I'm not going to feel sorry for him because his choices finally caught up with him." Rhonda was quiet for a moment. "You've changed." I woke up. "There's a difference." After they hung up, Simone sat in the silence of her home, thinking about the woman she'd been 2 weeks ago. Naive. Trusting. Willing to overlook the distance between her and Gregory because she was too busy building her business to notice her marriage crumbling. That woman was gone. In her place was someone harder, colder, less willing to accept excuses or explanations. She picked up her phone and texted Patricia. "No settlement. No mediation. We go to court and we win." The reply came back immediately, understood. Prepare for war. The divorce proceedings moved through the court system with brutal efficiency. Gregory's lawyer tried every tactic to delay or reduce the settlement, but Patricia demolished each argument with evidence so comprehensive that even the judge seemed impressed. 2 months after that confrontation in the hotel conference room, Simone sat in family court listening to Gregory's lawyer argue that the settlement was unfair. Your Honor, my client made a mistake, but Mrs. Bennett's response has been disproportionate and vindictive. She's seeking to financially destroy a man who served his community as a respected dentist for years. Patricia stood, her expression calm. Your Honor, the evidence shows Mr. Bennett committed systematic financial fraud over an 8-month period. He used marital assets without his wife's knowledge to finance an extramarital affair. The settlement reflects the damage done, not vindictiveness. The judge reviewed the documents in front of him. Mr. Bennett, you used joint account funds to purchase expensive gifts for another woman? Gregory's lawyer answered quickly. Gifts purchased with money he earned. From a joint account, which legally required both parties' consent for large expenditures. The judge looked at Gregory directly. Did you inform your wife about these purchases? Gregory shifted in his seat. No, Your Honor. Did you inform her about the affair? No, Your Honor. Did you inform her you were using marital assets to fund romantic getaways with your coworker? Your Honor, I made mistakes, but... Yes or no, Mr. Bennett? No. The judge set down his pen. Then Mrs. Bennett's settlement terms seem entirely reasonable given the circumstances. Petition granted. 55% of marital assets to Mrs. Bennett, the house, the primary vehicle, and spousal support payments of $3,000 per month for 18 months. Gregory's face went pale. Your Honor, I can't afford. You should have considered that before committing fraud. The judge signed the order. We're adjourned. Outside the courtroom, Patricia touched Simone's arm. That's it. You're officially divorced. Simone felt nothing. No relief, no satisfaction. Just emptiness where her marriage used to be. Gregory caught up with them in the parking garage. Simone, wait. Don't. Patricia stepped between them. The restraining order is still in effect. I just want to say I'm sorry. Simone looked at him across the space Patricia had created. He looked terrible. His suit was wrinkled, his face drawn and tired. She remembered him on their wedding day, young and hopeful and promising to love her forever. You're sorry you got caught, she said. Not sorry you did it. That's not true. I never meant to hurt you. You just meant to lie to me for as long as you could get away with it. Simone unlocked her car. Goodbye, Gregory. She drove back to the hotel, her hands steady on the wheel, her mind already moving to the next task. The third hotel property was ready for final inspections. She had meetings with contractors, designers, staff interviews. Life moved forward whether her heart was ready or not. Jerome met her in the lobby. How did it go? It's done. Divorce is final. How do you feel? Simone considered the question. Free. Exhausted. Empty. All of it at once. You need a break. I need to work. She buried herself in the business for weeks. The third Sterling Grand Hotel opened in a nearby suburb to rave reviews. Simone hired a full staff, trained them personally, and watched her empire expand. News of Gregory's situation spread through their social circle. Friends called with sympathy that felt more like curiosity. People wanted details about the affair, the confrontation, the divorce settlement. Simone gave them nothing. Rhonda came by the original hotel 6 weeks after the divorce was finalized. She found Simone in her office, surrounded by paperwork for the fourth potential property. You're opening another hotel? Looking into it. Simone didn't look up from the contracts. This property is perfect. Downtown location, historic building, great bones. Simone, you need to slow down. I need to keep moving. Rhonda sat across from her, forcing eye contact. You're running from your feelings. I'm building a business. You're building a fortress. Rhonda gestured at the office, the hotel beyond. You've thrown yourself so completely into work that you don't have time to process what happened. What's there to process? Gregory cheated. I divorced him. Life continues. Life continues, but are you living it? When was the last time you went out with friends? Watched a movie? Did anything that wasn't work-related? Simone looked at her friend, this woman who'd known her since college, who'd been maid of honor at her wedding. Work is all I have left. That's not true. It's true enough. Rhonda left an hour later, frustrated and worried. Simone returned to her contracts. losing herself in numbers and projections until the pain of her personal life faded into background noise. 3 months post-divorce, she ran into Bethany at a coffee shop downtown. The encounter was accidental, both women reaching for the same table before recognizing each other. Bethany looked different. Thinner, tired, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail instead of the styled waves from that weekend at the hotel. "I don't want any trouble," Bethany said quickly. "Neither do I." Simone picked up her coffee. "I was just leaving." "Wait." Bethany's voice stopped her. "I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." Simone turned back. "Okay. I know you don't believe me, but I really didn't know he was still married. He showed me texts from you that he'd fabricated, made it look like you were agreeing to divorce. I thought I was dating a separated man working through a difficult split. He lied to both of us then. I lost my job because of it. Had to move back in with my parents. Can't find work in the dental field anymore." Bethany looked down at her coffee. "I'm not asking for sympathy. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry I was part of hurting you." Simone studied the woman who'd helped destroy her marriage. She looked for anger, for satisfaction at Bethany's suffering, but found only exhaustion. "I hope you figure things out," Simone said finally. "You too." Simone left the coffee shop and went back to work, adding Bethany to the growing list of people from her old life who no longer mattered. That night, alone in her house, she allowed herself to cry for the first time in weeks. Not for Gregory or the marriage. For the woman she used to be, who believed in happy endings and forever promises. That woman was gone, and Simone mourned her loss. But mourning came anyway, as it always did. And with it, plans for the fourth hotel, meetings with investors, and a business that needed her focus more than her heart needed healing. She could grieve later. Right now, she had an empire to build. 6 months after the divorce, Simone's life had settled into a new rhythm. She woke early, worked late, and built her business with single-minded determination. The Sterling Grand hotels were becoming a brand people recognized, associated with luxury service and attention to detail. She didn't think about Gregory anymore. Or at least she tried not to. Then Jerome called her one Tuesday afternoon with news that cracked her carefully maintained composure. "You're not going to believe this. Gregory's here." Simone looked up from her laptop. "At the hotel?" "At the lobby bar. He's 3 drinks in and getting louder. Call security. Have him removed for violating the restraining order." The restraining order expired last month, remember? It was only for 6 months. Simone had forgotten. She'd been so focused on work that she'd lost track of the legal timeline. "Fine. I'll handle it." She found Gregory at the corner of the lobby bar, nursing what looked like whiskey. He'd aged in 6 months. New lines around his eyes, gray threading through his hair, weight loss that made his suit hang loose on his frame. "You look terrible," she said, sitting on the bar stool beside him before she could second-guess the decision. He laughed bitterly. "Nice to see you too. What are you doing here, Gregory?" "Having a drink in a public bar. That's still legal, isn't it? Or did you get a law passed against that too?" The bartender looked at Simone questioningly. She shook her head slightly. "Let Gregory talk. Let him get whatever poison he came here to spill out of his system." "How's life treating you?" Gregory asked, signaling for another drink. "I'm fine." "Right. More than fine. I saw the article about your 4th hotel. Sterling Grand Empire expanding across the state. Must be nice. Must be nice to have built something successful through hard work instead of lies?" Gregory flinched. "I deserve that. You deserve a lot more than that." He drained his glass. "My practice partnership ended last month. Dr. Thompson bought me out. Said my presence was bad for business after everything that happened." Simone felt a flicker of something. Not sympathy exactly, but awareness that his life had imploded as thoroughly as their marriage. "I'm sorry your choices had consequences." "Right. My choices." He turned to face her fully. "Did you know Bethany left the state? Moved to Oregon to start over where nobody knew about the affair." "I don't care what Bethany did." "Of course you don't. You got your revenge. Everyone else can suffer as long as you're okay." Simone's jaw tightened. "I didn't create this situation, Gregory. I responded to it. There's a difference. You destroyed my life. You destroyed your life when you started sleeping with your assistant. I just made sure there were consequences." She stood to leave. "Go home. Sleep it off. Stop blaming me for your mistakes." His hand shot out, grabbing her wrist. Not hard, but enough to stop her. "I miss you." Simone looked at his hand on her wrist, then at his face. For a moment she saw the man she'd married. The one who'd carried her over the threshold of their first apartment. The one who'd held her hand during her father's funeral. Then she remembered the screenshots on his tablet. The jewelry he'd bought Bethany with their money. The weekend and the honeymoon suite she'd designed. She pulled her wrist free. You missed the life you had. The wife who didn't know you were a liar. The convenient marriage that let you play house while having an affair. She picked up her purse. That version of me doesn't exist anymore. Simone. Don't come back here, Gregory. Not to drink, not to talk, not to reminisce. Move on with your life and let me move on with mine. She walked away before he could respond, her heart pounding but her steps steady. Jerome intercepted her near the elevator. You okay? I'm fine. Make sure he gets a cab home. I don't want him driving drunk. You still care about him. I care about not having his death on my conscience. There's a difference. 2 weeks later, Rhonda called with more news about Gregory's downward spiral. He sold the condo. The one he moved into after you kept the house. Why are you telling me this? Because he's broke, Simone. The spousal support payments, the settlement, losing his partnership. He's drowning financially. Again, why are you telling me? Because I think you should know that your revenge worked. He's suffering. Simone was quiet for a long moment. I didn't want revenge. I wanted justice. I wanted him to face consequences for his actions. That's not the same thing. Isn't it? No. Simone looked out her office window at the city below. Revenge would have been me actively trying to destroy him. Justice is him experiencing the natural results of his choices. I didn't make him cheat. I didn't make him steal our money. I didn't make him lose his partnership. Those were his decisions. But you could help him now. No, I couldn't. And I won't. Simone's voice was firm. He made his choices. I made mine. We're living with the results. She hung up and returned to work, refusing to let Gregory's problems become her own. A month later, she received an email from his mother, a woman she'd once called family. Dear Simone, I know you have no reason to care, but Gregory is struggling. He's moved back in with us temporarily while he gets back on his feet. I'm writing to ask if you'd consider reducing the spousal support payments. They're making it impossible for him to rebuild his life. Simone read the email 3 times, feeling anger build with each reading. She forwarded it to Patricia. The reply came within an hour. Absolutely not. The support payments were court-ordered based on his fraud. He can petition the court for a modification if his circumstances have changed, but you're under no obligation to reduce anything. Simone wrote back to Gregory's mother. The support payments were determined by a judge based on evidence of financial fraud. If Gregory's circumstances have changed, he can petition the court. I will not be making any voluntary modifications. She sent the email and blocked the address. Gregory's family was no longer her problem. As summer turned to fall, Simone heard occasional updates through mutual friends. Gregory had found work at a small dental office in the suburbs, making a fraction of what he used to earn. He was living with his parents, driving a used car, rebuilding his life one day at a time. Good, Simone thought. Let him rebuild. Let him understand what it meant to start over with nothing. She was doing the same after all. Starting over. Building something new from the ruins of what she thought her life would be. The difference was that she was building an empire while he was scrambling for survival. And she felt no guilt about that whatsoever. 1 year after the divorce, Simone stood in the lobby of her 4th hotel, watching staff prepare for the grand opening. The building had been a historic bank, carefully restored to preserve its architectural beauty while adding modern luxury. It's gorgeous, Jerome said beside her, his eyes tracking the cleaning crew polishing marble columns. It's perfect. Simone adjusted a flower arrangement on the reception desk. Everything has to be perfect. The grand opening was scheduled for Friday night. Investors, local media, business leaders, everyone who mattered in the hospitality industry would be there. This hotel was her statement piece, the one that would cement the Sterling Grand as a major player in the regional market. She'd poured everything into it. Her time, her energy, her entire focus for the past 6 months. The hotel was more than a business venture. It was proof that she'd survived what Gregory did to her and emerged stronger. Thursday afternoon, she met with her therapist for her weekly session. Dr. Martinez had been helping her process the divorce and its aftermath, pushing Simone to confront emotions she'd rather bury in spreadsheets and architectural plans. You seem energized, Dr. Martinez said. The opening is going well? Everything's on schedule. How are you feeling about it? Excited? Nervous? Proud? That's good. And personally? How are you doing? Simone shifted in her chair. Fine. Simone. I'm fine. I'm working. I'm building my business. I'm moving forward. You're still working 70-hour weeks. That's what it takes to be successful. Dr. Martinez leaned forward. Or it's what it takes to avoid dealing with your feelings about what happened. I've dealt with my feelings. Gregory cheated, I divorced him, I'm moving on. Have you dated anyone since the divorce? Simone laughed. Who has time for dating? You make time for what matters to you. Work matters to me. And relationships. Connection. Love. Simone was quiet for a long moment. I don't trust that anymore. Trust in general or trust in romantic relationships? Both. Either. I don't know. She looked down at her hands. Gregory was my college boyfriend. We got married young, built a life together. I thought I knew him. I thought I could trust him. And I was completely wrong. One person's betrayal doesn't mean everyone will betray you. Maybe not. But it means I can't trust my own judgment about people. If I couldn't see Gregory's lies when I was married to him, how would I see anyone else's? Dr. Martinez made a note. So you're choosing to be alone rather than risk being hurt again. I'm choosing to focus on what I can control. The session ended with Dr. Martinez assigning homework. Attend one social event that wasn't work-related. Make one genuine connection with someone new. Simone agreed to try, knowing she wouldn't. The grand opening Friday night exceeded her expectations. 300 guests filled the hotel, champagne flowed, and local news cameras captured every moment. Simone worked the room in a sapphire blue dress that made her dark skin glow under the crystal chandeliers. Mrs. Bennett, this space is magnificent, a city councilwoman said. You've really transformed the old bank building. Thank you. Preservation was important to me. This building is part of the city's history. She moved through conversations with practiced ease, discussing architecture and business strategy and expansion plans. This was comfortable. This was safe. Business relationships had clear boundaries and expectations. Near midnight, as the party wound down, Simone found herself alone on the rooftop terrace overlooking the city. The cool night air felt good after hours in the crowded ballroom. Impressive party. She turned to find a man she didn't recognize. Tall, wearing a well-tailored suit, holding a glass of champagne. He had an easy smile and kind eyes. Thank you. Are you with the investor group? No, I'm Nathan Grant. I designed the sustainable HVAC system for the building. He gestured at the rooftop. I wanted to see how it all came together. Nathan Grant. You're the architect my contractor kept raving about. Guilty. And you're the owner who insisted on preserving every original detail while making the building completely modern. Also guilty. Simone found herself smiling. It was worth the extra cost. They talked for an hour about building design, sustainable architecture, the challenges of historic preservation. Nathan was easy to talk to, knowledgeable without being condescending, genuinely interested in her vision for the hotel. I should let you get back to your guests, he said eventually. Most of them have left. It's just staff cleanup now. Then I should let you oversee that. He handed her a business card. If you ever do another historic renovation, I'd love to be part of it. Simone took the card, feeling something shift in her chest. Not attraction exactly, but possibility. The idea that maybe, eventually she could trust someone new. I'll keep that in mind. After he left, she stood on the rooftop for another hour, thinking about the conversation, the easy way Nathan had made her laugh, the absence of any pressure or expectation. Maybe Dr. Martinez was right. Maybe she was ready to let someone in just a little. The next Monday she called Nathan's office. I'm considering a fifth property. Historic warehouse conversion. Would you be interested in consulting? His warm voice came through the phone. Absolutely. When would you like to meet? They scheduled coffee for Wednesday. Business only, Simone told herself. Just a professional consultation. But when Wednesday came and she spent 2 hours talking with Nathan about architecture and design and their shared passion for preserving beautiful old buildings, she realized this felt like more than business. It felt like possibility. She wasn't ready to trust completely. Maybe she never would be. But she was willing to try being open to connection again. That was progress. 6 months after the grand opening of her fourth hotel, Simone's life had found a new balance. She still worked hard, but she'd cut back to reasonable hours. She'd started running again, joined a book club, and occasionally met friends for dinner without checking her phone every 5 minutes. And she'd been seeing Nathan. It started as professional consultation meetings that turned into coffee dates that evolved into dinner conversations lasting hours. Nathan was different from Gregory in every way that mattered. He listened when she talked. He respected her work. He didn't need her to be anything other than who she was. "You're dating someone," Rhonda said over lunch one Saturday. "Don't try to deny it. You're glowing." Simone smiled despite herself. "I'm seeing someone. It's casual." "How casual?" "We have dinner once a week. Coffee when our schedules align." "It's nice." "Nice." Rhonda laughed. "You're falling for him." "I'm being cautious." "You're allowed to be happy again, you know. Gregory doesn't get to ruin that forever." Simone picked at her salad. "I know. I'm trying." Nathan understood her hesitation. When she explained about the divorce, about Gregory's betrayal, he'd simply nodded and said, "I get it. We'll go at whatever pace works for you. No pressure. No demands. Just patience and respect." 3 months into whatever they were doing, Nathan invited her to a gallery opening. "My sister's an artist. She's showing her work downtown. No big deal if you can't make it, but I'd like you there." Meeting family felt significant. Simone almost said no, almost invented an excuse about work. But Dr. Martinez's voice echoed in her head. "Avoidance isn't protection. It's just another form of pain." "I'd love to come," she said. The gallery was small and intimate, filled with Nathan's family and friends. His sister Grace was warm and funny, immediately pulling Simone into conversation about her hotels. "Nathan says you're turning old buildings into modern luxury." "That's basically what I do with found objects and paint." They talked art and architecture while Nathan brought them wine and looked pleased that they were getting along. Later, walking to their cars, Nathan took her hand. "Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for inviting me." Simone looked at their joined hands, feeling the weight of trust required to let someone this close. "My family loved you. They're great." He stopped walking, turning to face her. "Simone, I know you're being careful. I know you've been hurt. But I need you to know that I'm serious about this. About us. Whatever this becomes, I'm in it for real." Her chest tightened with familiar fear. "Nathan. You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know where I stand." He squeezed her hand. "Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere." Simone drove home with her heart pounding, terrified and hopeful in equal measure. She wanted to trust him. She wanted to believe this could work. But trusting meant risking. And risking meant potential pain. The next day, she called Dr. Martinez for an emergency session. "I think I'm falling for someone." "That's wonderful." "It's terrifying." "Also normal." Dr. Martinez smiled. "Tell me about him." Simone talked for an hour about Nathan. His kindness, his respect for her work, the way he made her laugh without trying. The way he'd waited patiently for her to be ready for anything more than casual dating. "What are you afraid of?" Dr. Martinez asked. "That I'll trust him and he'll betray me like Gregory did." "That's possible. It's also possible he won't. You can't predict the future." "So what do I do?" "You decide if the possibility of happiness is worth the risk of pain. Only you can make that choice." Simone spent a week thinking about it. She watched Nathan interact with his colleagues at a business conference, noted his easy integrity and straightforward honesty. She observed how he treated service staff, his family, strangers on the street. Everything about him suggested he was exactly who he appeared to be. But so had Gregory, at least at first. Finally, she invited Nathan to dinner at her house. She'd never done that before, always meeting in public places where she could maintain boundaries. He arrived with flowers and a bottle of wine, his smile nervous. "Thanks for having me over." They cooked together, laughing over her limited kitchen skills and his tendency to overseason everything. Over dinner, she told him the full story of her divorce. Not just the facts but the pain. The betrayal. The way it had shattered her ability to trust. "I need you to understand why I'm so cautious," she said. "It's not because of anything you've done. It's because I'm still learning how to trust my judgment about people again." Nathan set down his wine glass. "I can't promise I'll never hurt you. Nobody can promise that. People make mistakes, have bad days, say things they regret. I know. But I can promise I'll never lie to you. I'll never cheat on you. And if I screw up, I'll own it and work to fix it." He reached across the table, taking her hand. "I'm not Gregory. I'm not perfect, but I'm honest. That's all I can offer." Simone felt tears prick her eyes. That's more than enough. They started officially dating after that night. Simone introduced him to Jerome and her close friends. He introduced her to his business partners and extended family. They talked about their past, their goals, their fears. It wasn't always easy. Simone had moments of panic, times when her trust issues flared up over nothing. But Nathan was patient, talking through her fears without getting defensive or making her feel foolish. 4 months later, sitting on the rooftop terrace of her fourth hotel, Nathan said, "I love you." Simone's breath caught. She looked at him in the bright lights of the city, this man who'd waited for her to be ready, who'd proven his character through consistent action. "I love you too," she said, and meant it. The fear was still there. It probably always would be. But it was smaller now, overshadowed by hope and possibility and the growing certainty that some people were worth the risk. Nathan wasn't Gregory. This relationship wasn't her marriage. She was different too, stronger, wiser, more careful with her heart, but still willing to open it to someone who'd earned her trust. That night, wrapped in Nathan's arms under the stars, Simone felt something she hadn't felt in 2 years: genuine happiness. Not the satisfaction of business success. Not the grim pleasure of seeing Gregory face consequences. But real, warm, hopeful happiness. She was building more than hotels. She was building a new life, one where love and success could coexist, where vulnerability didn't mean weakness, where trust was earned through action rather than assumed through vows. It was better than any revenge. It was her future. 2 years after the divorce, Simone stood on stage at the Regional Hospitality Excellence Awards, accepting recognition for the Sterling Grand Hotel's commitment to community impact. Her fifth hotel had just opened, this one with a specific mission. 20% of staff positions were reserved for women escaping domestic violence or recovering from financial abuse. "When I started this business, I wanted to create beautiful spaces where people felt valued and cared for," Simone said into the microphone, looking out at the crowd of industry professionals. "But after experiencing my own challenges, I realized I could do more than provide luxury accommodations. I could provide opportunity." The audience applauded. Simone saw Nathan in the front row, his proud smile making her chest warm. The Sterling Foundation now partners with local shelters and counseling centers to provide job training, employment, and support for women rebuilding their lives. "We've helped over 200 women find financial independence and professional success." She held up the award. "This recognition isn't just mine. It belongs to every woman who had the courage to start over." After the ceremony, she was surrounded by people wanting to talk about the foundation, about replicating the model in other cities, about partnerships and expansions. Jerome rescued her after an hour, guiding her to a quiet corner. "You did good tonight," he said. "We did good. None of this happens without you." Simone had promoted Jerome to vice president of operations 6 months ago. He deserved it. "Still, you built this empire from pain. That takes strength." Simone looked around the ballroom at the success she'd created from the ruins of her marriage. "I didn't have much choice." "You always have a choice. You chose to build instead of break. That matters." Nathan appeared with champagne. "The woman of the hour. How does it feel to be officially recognized as a hospitality industry leader?" "Exhausting." She accepted the champagne and leaned into his side. "How long do we have to stay?" "Another hour maybe. Then I'm taking you home for a quiet celebration." They'd moved in together 3 months ago, a decision Simone made after months of careful consideration and therapy sessions. Living with someone again had been terrifying at first, but Nathan made it easy. He respected her space, communicated clearly, and never made her feel trapped. The party eventually wound down. Simone was gathering her things when Rhonda pulled her aside. "Gregory's here." Simone's stomach dropped. "What?" "He's in the lobby. I saw him when I went to the bathroom. He looks like he wants to talk to you. Tell security. No restraining order anymore, remember? He's allowed to be here." Simone took a deep breath. "Okay. I'll deal with it." Nathan started to follow, but she shook her head. "I need to do this alone." She found Gregory standing near the hotel entrance, looking uncomfortable in a suit that had seen better days. He was thinner than when she'd last seen him, his hair grayer, new lines around his eyes. "Simone." He straightened when he saw her. "Congratulations on your award." "What are you doing here?" "I saw the announcement in the business section. I wanted to, I don't know, see you succeed, I guess." They stood in awkward silence for a moment. Simone studied the man she'd once loved, trying to find any residual feeling. Anger. Pain. Even hatred. There was nothing. He was just a stranger wearing a familiar face. "You've done well for yourself," Gregory said. 5 hotels. The foundation. You're everywhere in the business news. "I work hard. You always did." He shifted his weight. "I'm back working full-time now. Small practice, but it's mine. Slowly rebuilding." "Good for you." "I'm sorry, Simone. I know I've said it before, but I need you to know. I'm truly sorry for what I did to you. Simone looked at him and saw genuine regret. Maybe he meant it. Maybe time and consequences had actually taught him something. Okay, she said. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, Gregory? You apologized. I heard you. But your apology doesn't undo what you did, and it doesn't change anything between us. I know. I just hoped. He trailed off. Never mind. Hoped what? That maybe someday we could be friends. Or at least not enemies. Simone considered this. We're not enemies. We're nothing to each other. You're part of my past, a chapter that's closed. I don't hate you anymore. I don't think about you at all. He flinched but nodded. I deserve that. You deserve a lot of things. But mostly you deserve to move on with your life and let me move on with mine. Nathan appeared at her side, his hand finding hers. Everything okay? Everything's fine. Simone looked at Gregory one last time. Goodbye, Gregory. I hope you find what you're looking for. She walked away with Nathan, leaving Gregory standing alone in the hotel lobby. She didn't look back. You okay? Nathan asked in the car. I'm perfect. And she meant it. The next morning, Simone woke up in Nathan's arms in the home they'd built together. Sunlight streamed through the windows. She could hear birds outside, the distant sound of traffic, the quiet breathing of the man she loved. Her phone buzzed with messages. Congratulations on the award. Interview requests. Meeting confirmations for the foundation. She had a business to run. Women to help. A partner who loved and respected her. A future filled with possibility. Gregory was right about one thing. She'd done well for herself. But it wasn't luck or accident. It was the result of choosing to build something meaningful from pain. She thought about the woman she'd been 2 years ago, standing in that hotel lobby watching her husband check in with another woman. That woman had been devastated, heartbroken, lost. She transformed into someone stronger. Someone who knew her worth. Someone who'd turned betrayal into a mission to help other women find their strength. 3 months later, Simone opened her 6th hotel in partnership with a national foundation supporting women's economic independence. She stood at the grand opening beside Nathan, Jerome, and dozens of women whose lives had been changed by her foundation's work. A reporter asked her about success and revenge and overcoming betrayal. It was never about revenge, Simone said. It was about refusing to let someone else's choices define my future. My ex-husband thought he could have everything, a wife at home and a girlfriend on the side. Instead, he lost everything while I built an empire. So you're saying the best revenge is success? Simone smiled. I'm saying there's no revenge better than living well and lifting others up while you do it. I didn't destroy my ex-husband's life. His own choices did that. I just made sure mine didn't end with his betrayal. That night, at the celebration dinner, Nathan proposed. It was simple and perfect, just the two of them on the rooftop terrace where they'd first talked about sustainable architecture and historic preservation. I know you're careful about trust, he said, kneeling with a ring that caught the city lights. I know you've been hurt. But I love you and I want to build a life with you. Not despite your past, but with full knowledge and respect for everything you've survived. Simone looked at the ring, at the man offering it, at the city spread out below them. She thought about the journey from betrayal to strength, from heartbreak to hope. Yes, she said. Absolutely yes. 6 months later, they married in a small ceremony at her first hotel, surrounded by the people who mattered. Jerome stood as her person of honor. Nathan's sister was his best woman. There was no white dress or big production. Just two people who'd found each other and chosen to build something real together. As she danced with Nathan at the reception, Simone caught sight of herself in one of the lobby mirrors. The woman looking back was confident, successful, deeply loved. That woman had been forged in fire and had emerged stronger. That woman had turned pain into purpose. That woman had won by refusing to be broken. Somewhere across the city, Gregory was probably living his small life, dealing with the consequences of his choices. Simone didn't think about him anymore. She was too busy being happy. And that was the greatest victory of all.